One could say that the foundation for U.S.-Seri-Thai partnership began with M.R. Seni Pramot's refusal to deliver Thailand's declaration of war to the Secretary of State. This event unfolded in a dramatic, somewhat Oscar-worthy performance. Tapping on his coat while looking Secretary Hull in the eye, M.R. Seni stated, "I'm keeping the declaration in my pocket because I am convinced it does not represent the will of the Thai people. With American help, I propose to prove it." The declaration of war was never delivered to Secretary Hull, and in response, the U.S. never declared war against Thailand. Speaking to a symposium several years after the conclusion of the war, M.R. Seni stated, "During the war, the United States proved to be our best friend, helping us when we had fallen to the worst, at which time we could not foresee a dim of light of independence. The relationship between Thailand and the United States of America during these days was tied up so tightly that I can hardly be broken up. Our embassy decided not to observe the Thai government's surrender to the Japanese and to organize resistance against the Japanese, believing that all Thai would help one another to regain independence from the Japanese." M.R. Seni took swift actions on his proposal. He requested assistance from the United States, including the funding to train Thai students and expatriates to oppose the Japanese by force, establishing communication with mainland Thailand, and permission to carry secret activities with other countries for the sake of aiding the Thai effort. Furthermore, M.R. Seni presented his manifesto of purpose and goals, presenting 6 points to the U.S. 1. The Seri-Thai was not a political party, but an organization whose main objective was to restore Thailand's independence. 2. The Japanese army was the enemy of the Thai because their armed forces had invaded Thailand. 3. The Bangkok government was a puppet government because it had cooperated with the enemy against the will of the people. 4. The Seri-Thai regarded itself as the representative agency representing the will of the Thai people everywhere. 5. The Seri-Thai would not interfere with the law of succession of the king. 6. A constitutional government and democracy would be restored to Thailand after the country's freedom was restored. The Seri-Thai would release all political prisoners and would organize a people's court to investigate those who had cooperated with the enemy. Both the requests and the manifesto were successively approved and recognized by the U.S. American support for Free Thai, a name coined by M.R. Seni for the newly founded organization, solidified on April 1942 under the aegis of the Office of Strategic Services, OSS.